I guess we'll just get started then. Now that I've chewed my, whatever that was, raisin maybe?
Raisin nut or...
I know there's caramel, there's malt balls. It's a roulette in there.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome back, friends.
Welcome back.
Hey. I don't know y'all's open that well.
It's just welcome back.
Oh, welcome back.
Yeah, and it's time for another episode, a Strange and Beautiful Book Club episode about Barbie.
Barbie.
We don't normally do,
Pop culture
new
movies.
releases, but we can't not do Barbie. It was so good. Plus, Kate wanted to come hop on Barbie.
Yeah, I liked Barbie a lot. It made me feel lots of things.
Yeah.
Ditto.
Felt really validated.
It was, but before we get started, because we're just going to get going. Hi, I'm Rachel.
And I'm Matt.
And I'm Kate.
And this is the Strange and Beautiful Book Club.
Oh, that beautiful bean footage.
Yes. So I think we have a variety of experiences going to Barbie in the room because we have a dude.
Right.
And then
I'm
we
the
have
toe Ken.
Ken.
Well, can you tell me, have you guys thought about what your Ken job is?
He's been sharing Instagram reels of like my Ken, like
My
Ken's
Ken's job is
computer.
computer.
Yeah.
My Ken's
Your-
job is driving
Yeah.
because I don't like driving and he does.
Yeah, I was thinking your this Ken's job is zeros and ones.
Yeah,
Is that your
computer.
thing? That's what you do, right?
Yeah, and
You're
like any handyman stuff.
yeah, hammer and
Yeah.
zeros
My-
and one.
He
this
liked.
this
he really
Ken's
liked,
job is fixing shit.
He really
Yeah.
he liked the line in the song that's like, "We're good at doing stuff." I'm Ken and I'm good at doing stuff.
Yeah.
He was like, "Hell yeah, I'm good at doing stuff.
I'm great at doing
I'm
stuff.
great at doing." And then he liked put your manly hand in mine. I
Yeah.
think I've heard that 4 or 5 times since we watched it.
Right. Well, I'd like to start by talking about how huge of a deal their marketing strategy was.
Yes.
And how this movie, I cannot remember another movie that has been a part of the monoculture so much and actually been worth it.
I feel like it was hyped for like a year,
It was.
like a
Yeah.
really long time.
Rachel and I had several conversations about how she was excited about the movie, but there was so much hype. She was worried it was getting overhyped.
Yes.
And that it was going to just lead to her being inevitably disappointed in what she actually
Well, I
got.
feel like they push it up too high and then it's unreasonable expectations. And so even if it's a great movie, it can't be as good as the hype, but Barbie was. So I was,
But the hype wasn't even, it was such a product placement type hype
Yeah.
versus this is going to be the movie
They weren't
of the
even
summer,
advertising that this is
the best movie.
like a
Yeah.
culture shift movie.
No, not in the least. It was
Right.
literally, it was product placement. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, come buy our Ruggable, like Ruggable did a Barbie. Like every single product out there. And what's so great and funny about it is that's Mattel.
Right.
That's what
Of
Barbie
course they
does.
have
yeah.
So it was
amazing
they've been 60
marketing.
years
Yeah.
of preparing for this Barbie movie, and then to have had the societal, cultural impact and shift made it something we weren't expecting. So
Right.
it's just this very, very special movie.
It's made $1 billion.
I
Oh,
saw
it did?
that.
Just
It
crossed
did.
$1 billion.
It did.
It's the first female director ever to make $1 billion. And I looked up the pay for the actors.
Wait, even like Wonder Woman?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Female directed.
Oh, okay.
Because Greta
Well-
Gerwig directed it.
Wonder
Yeah.
Woman was.
Yeah. Even she's the first female director to pass
Okay.
$1 billion.
Okay, yeah.
And I looked up the pay for the actors, and Margot Robbie and
Ryan Gosling.
thank you, Ryan Gosling got paid the exact same
Ken.
amount. Got paid the exact same amount.
Yeah, that's great.
And I was like, thank you. Yes. Validating all the way through.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I've watched probably 45 like YouTube videos about the cast interviews. It's so fun to watch them talk about the movie. I was doing that before I even saw it. Ryan Gosling is funnier than I ever knew. I don't think of him as a natural. He's not a comedian.
Right.
But if you see him just talking, you're like, "Oh, wow, you actually are like you have great dry comedic timing." So I think in this role, he's like shockingly good at it.
Yes.
Yeah.
People were so critical about him being too old or him, but I cannot imagine it being
Anybody
that
else.
role being
Yeah.
done better.
But he's not doing like
Oh, he
Marvel.
does like
he's not doing that
yes,
that
he does, like-
Oppenheimer shit. He's not. He's not.
He does independent films. Like, he
Yes.
does indie movies. Yeah.
Yes.
Like Driver and The Gray Man, and like where he has these very masculine roles, but they are in a smaller type movie.
Right.
With giant action.
Yes.
Lots of action.
Yes, but even though he's doing very male stuff, he
Sure.
does tend to work with more female crew,
Yeah.
like female directors.
Yeah. I also love something. I don't want to talk about him anymore. Actually, I want to talk about Margot Robbie.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. I was just like, what am I talking about? Ryan Gosling.
Because the criticism around him, I think, is where you started.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
just I was surprised. I kind of went on a spiral of like watching him do stuff and talk. And one of the things that he would do is that when the conversations and like the junket stuff started to be around him, he'd be like, "What are you doing? Let's talk about Barbie."
Yeah.
Right.
But Margot Robbie, thinking about how she's been, what's her face? The Joker.
Harley Quinn.
Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
That role she played in Wolf of Wall Street, like she has been the sexualized female character that was like their world was so male centric.
Yeah.
So for her to step into this role and it be this coming out story, like recognizing the world for what it is, I think was like the perfect person for it.
Yeah. Yes. I really liked her in this. She
Yes.
was very good. And I know she's not, I loved that she wasn't like stick skinny.
I love that she doesn't have giant tits.
Yeah. She's like a real,
Normal.
a normal woman.
I mean, she's not normal. There's
she's a
like,
normal
she walks in a
actress,
room,
yes,
but
not like, you know what I'm saying? The like,
Yes.
the,
She wasn't the same proportions as Barbie.
as Barbie.
well,
Thank
and
you.
they ruled. I mean, was it the 90s that they were like, a human being cannot look like Barbie?
Right.
Yeah.
If a
Because
person
your
had
head-
those dimensions,
Your head would out.
they
your,
would be like physically disfigured and
Yeah.
ill.
Well, it's
Yeah.
so the clothes will fit. Like that's why Barbie's
Right.
shaped the way she is.
Oh,
so
that
the
makes
clothes will
sense.
go on.
Sure. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
That's why her neck is longer and her waist is skinny.
Yeah.
So her
Otherwise,
pants don't fall
you
off.
would need like 1,000 thread per inch fabrics
Sure.
for the clothes to lay on
So
the
it
doll
makes
the
her
same.
body like her hips keep the clothes
Her
on.
yeah, and her feet are pointed so her pants can go on. Like
Yep.
if you ever had one of the flat feet Barbies, you had to like inch their pants over their feet and then pull them up, and you're like, thanks for the innovation, but now I can't put pants on my Barbie.
Yeah. Yeah. It just the whole thing. I love the domination and the like taking back. I don't feel like of pink.
Yeah.
The way that this Barbie pink is being like, I have never wanted to wear more pink in my entire life.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to wear pink all the time. And I've always liked pink. I've never
Yeah.
shied away from pink. I've always been traditionally like feminine outwardly, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So just this idea that this pink is nothing to be like, it can be whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, that feminine does not mean weakness.
Right. And,
Yeah.
and this pink doesn't mean girly.
Right. Like in the very song at the very beginning when she's getting dressed and it's like, do you want to wear a dress or a suit? Either way, that power looks so good on you.
Yeah.
Like whichever one you want to choose is fine.
Right.
Yeah.
How about when they're all accepting their awards and they're like, I know.
I know.
Thanks. I worked so hard for this.
Not not even thanks. Just I worked really hard for
right.
this and I
exactly.
deserve it.
They didn't say thanks.
Yeah.
There
Just
was
I
like,
worked really hard and I deserve this.
Yes.
You're the voice of our generation. I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah.
I know I saw somebody went viral for talking about that.
Yep.
Like, oh, I don't have to pretend like I was given this, I can actually say like, yeah, thanks.
And I don't have to
earned
have
it.
an imposter syndrome. And
Yeah.
Yep.
And I feel like that's kind of the next shift in like language of how you present yourself, where probably the last like 10 years I've been hearing like on podcasts and like advice for how to communicate professionally. One of the things is you don't say sorry.
Right.
You don't apologize.
Thank you for waiting.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
always flip it around to a
Thank
positive.
you for your patience.
And
Yeah.
that's kind of become a more normal way of communicating in professional environments. And I feel like this is kind of the next step, is like you don't even say thanks. You say, I worked really hard for that, and it's like appropriate that I received this.
Yes.
Because you're like, I told one of my managers thank you one time a few years ago, and he was like, why are you thanking me? This is what you deserve for all the hard work you've put in. I was like, oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
It was just like
Yeah,
a
but
reflex.
I know. But at the same time, I'm like, that, what is it called? The mediocre white male confidence?
Yeah.
Have y'all heard that term?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I've not heard that term.
really?
No, not phrased that way.
Am I saying it right?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah,
You know,
I think I get
there's
where
like
you're going.
I get where you're going
there's
with
like
it.
memes about it. Maybe it's just floating around in my circles. I don't
It's in
know.
your algorithm.
Yeah, but yeah, I've seen like cross stitch things on Etsy about it. Like, I wish I had the confidence of a mediocre white man. You've never? Okay. Anyways,
Yeah. No. Agreed.
I also don't want that to be the standard for everyone.
Right.
You know, like, we don't all need to feel. So, anyways, that's far down
But
the
if
line.
you've won the Nobel Prize,
Yes, you
feel free
deserve
to
it.
not be
Yes.
grateful. If
Did you see that Nobel Peace Prize winner who said, "This is my Ken that went with me"? She's like, I forget her name. I wish I could remember her name, but I never remember her name. Anyways, she put a tweet, and she was like, they were in the Barbie box.
Aw.
She's like, I'm a Nobel Peace Prize winner, and this is my Ken.
I think I saw that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. I think it's been interesting watching the criticism of the movie
Yeah.
because it's really like, if you have a critique, this movie was for you. Like,
yeah.
are you aware
Well, and I kind of feel.
Or a negative critique.
a negative critique? Like if
Well,
you, yeah.
I was going to say, sorry.
No, go ahead. Don't apologize.
ADHD
Thank you for your patience.
The ADHD is here. Yeah. You aren't like the guy that I want to be talking about this, because you're such a like. This movie is for the Matts of the world, right?
Yeah.
You know, this is the guy that sits next to you and goes, "Yeah, fuck yeah, this is what you know."
Oh,
what
yeah.
I mean? I sat next to a guy in the theater. I didn't know him. He was with his girlfriend, and he seemed to be getting it too. He laughed when I laughed, and like there were a couple of parts where I was like, "Oh shit," and like I didn't feel a sense of like what from him, but I do think that there are dudes out there that were like,
They didn't get it.
"This is for the girls, man."
Right. If this movie makes you angry, then you need to watch
Angry
it a couple
about the
more
way the
times.
Kens are treated. If you feel like, oh my God,
Yes.
how come the Kens are being treated like that?
Sorry. It's so funny. It's so funny.
Just flip the gender and you have every rom-com from 1990
Right.
to like 2015.
I was literally explaining to my dad today this situation I'm going through right now in work. And I was like, yeah, and there's this little bit of misogyny flavor to it. But I expect that because that's just how the world works. And I like waited for my dad to say something back. And I really hoped in that moment he was like, what? Yeah, Dad.
Yeah.
Really normal for me.
Right.
Really no. I wear a engagement ring when I go meet new clients. I think I've told you guys that before.
Yeah.
I wear an engagement ring when I go meet new clients because I don't want them to assume that I'm not in a relationship. One, because for a lot of people that boosts my value. And two, I don't want them to mistake my friendliness for flirtiness.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
It's like the line in the movie, oh, we're still doing patriarchy. We're just hiding it better now.
yep.
Yeah. You guys aren't doing patriarchy very well. Oh, no, we're still doing patriarchy. This movie was so real. It was saying the quiet part out loud just over and over and over again. And
Right.
framed in this it made sense. I did feel like there was one or two parts where we slowed the pace down just a little bit so we could really hammer this point home, but I was totally cool with it.
Right.
Because I'm like, I'd rather you have a completely clear message on what you're trying to sell here, or, just tell people, not even sell, than, sacrifice clarity for pacing. I'd rather it go the other way. And I thought it worked really well, especially the part at the end when they're in when we get the speech.
The heaven bubble. Oh, no. In the weird Barbie's house.
Yeah.
With the dog that poops.
Yes.
Did you know that dog got taken off the market because there was a part that came with it that had magnets in it and kids were swallowing it? So that's why that dog was in Weird Barbie, because it had gotten discontinued.
Yeah, like Magic Earring Ken.
Yeah.
Quote, magic earring.
Cock ring Ken.
Was that real?
Yes.
No, I don't believe you.
Yeah, it was very real.
It's in the
It was
Toys That
called
Made Us.
Magic Earring Ken, and he came with a magic earring on a like a necklace, and you had matching earrings you could wear.
But it was actually a cock ring?
because they were trying to update Ken and make him
When they were
hip.
doing their market research,
So they were
they were
going,
going to the club
clubs.
scene.
And what are people wearing at clubs? But at the time, there wasn't the dialogue about this is a straight club, this is a gay club. So they were just going, and
So
it was
they didn't know enough to recognize the fact that that circle thing was a cock ring?
Yeah,
Right. They just saw,
Oh, I didn't know
we're
either.
going to
Yeah.
the hottest clubs with the most action. And wow, there's a lot of guys wearing mesh tops.
With these,
and, and they all have these rings on a necklace.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I got to pause for a second. Y'all talk.
Okay,
Sorry, I need to...
it's fine. Do your thing.
Thank you for your patience.
And I did like that. The way they framed it was that this system harms everyone.
Yes.
It harms women.
I
It
agree.
harms men. it
Feminism
harms
is
everyone.
for everyone.
It's for everyone.
When I think about the men who are so caught up in being masculine that the only emotion that they have ever been told or shown is okay to feel is anger,
yeah,
that is the most horrifying and I imagine painful experience. I'm not saying it's more than ours. I don't want to, not going to put them on a pedestal,
but everybody's experiencing something from this system, and it's a negative something, even if you don't see it as negative. If you're the mediocre white dude who gets to rise to your highest level of incompetence, you're maybe not seeing it that way. But do you get to have a fulfilling relationship with a woman where it's a give and take partnership? Maybe
Right.
not.
Right. I saw something else where someone said, I think men think of us a lot of times as Alexas, where you know how sometimes Alexa starts telling you something you don't need and you're
Yeah.
just like, shut up, Alexa. We're just there. You know, when she'll start having a conversation with you and you're like, no, I just need you to set an alarm. And she starts having a conversation with you and you're like, sometimes that is how you're just there. You're there to fill a role.
An appliance.
An appliance,
Yeah.
really. And if you grew up thinking that that's what your relationship and dynamic with a woman should be, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, that's a little bit how my dad treats my stepmom. I love you, Dad. You're never gonna listen to this, but you know what I mean. I've seen that
Yes.
in action.
Yeah.
Oh, I can totally imagine that there's a lot of guys that's the only female representation that they've had their entire life, both at home,
Yes.
extended family, in work environments and media.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it just to not see, that's what's to have the blindness to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. To not realize what your action, the harm that your action is causing.
Right.
And the unrealistic expectations that you're putting on women for how we should behave. I think we talked about this on the podcast the other day. I am under no obligation to be a small, hairless doll for anyone. I don't have to shave shit. If I want to, I will. If I don't, I won't. I don't owe anybody anything.
Yeah, I don't have any person in my life right now, and I still shave sometimes. And it's really just so that the sheets feel good when I go to sleep.
Yeah.
It's all about comfort and my clean sheets.
Right,
And
and-
that coziness.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do, and I don't care either.
I
Yeah.
shaved my legs once.
Yeah.
And it did feel really good.
Dude, on
being
some
on
fresh
nice
sheets,
clean
a
sheets.
nice
Yeah.
shower at the end of the night with some Whew, you're talking about another level of cozy.
Right.
With your Kindle, maybe some snacks, some bridge mix. Are there gummy clusters?
No, those did not
I
survive.
ate
didn't
them all.
think they would.
Yeah.
That wasn't an
Yes.
expectation I came here with.
I was doing a bunch of work in the rest of the shop.
Where are those fucking nerd
And,
clusters at?
And
Gone.
I got them out and I was snacking on them while I was
Yeah.
I'm glad.
doing
I'm glad they
construction
brought
stuff.
you joy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But to me, I was talking to Matt about this earlier. To me, the way Ken acts is really the way I feel like men free of the toxic masculinity expectation would act. You just want to hang out with your bros. You want to go play at beach.
Yeah.
You just want to have a good time. That when we force this, like, no, you are the man, you are the protector, you are the strength, you are the whatever.
provider.
The
provider.
That's a big
provider.
word that gets thrown
Oh,
around.
I
Then-
hate that.
This is when you shoehorn men into this, like, not that they're not complicit
What's
in
it?
it at all. But
Casa Dojo Mojo.
yeah, the
We're making one
Casa
of those.
Mojo Dojo House.
Yeah,
Yes.
Casa Mojo
Yeah.
Dojo House. Yeah.
Because, like, we know, so there was a big breakthrough archaeologically recently, which I found very interesting, which is that we found evidence from like 50 different cultures around the globe. So tons of, like, a huge sample of ancient cultures where the women were the hunters and the men stayed at home. So that expectation that biologically, sociologically, we're set up to, like, the women take care of the house while the men go out and do the hunting is really inaccurate.
well, and,
Right, and it's... Oh, go ahead.
no, you go.
Oh, I was going to say it's more similar to a pride of lions.
I was going to make the comment about we do things in groups.
Yeah.
So we are more effective and efficient sometimes because women don't have to do something by themselves.
Right. And we're like endurance machines.
Right.
That we literally survive something that would kill a man,
Right,
which is being pregnant.
for running long distance, like, you know, we've known for a long time humans are persistence hunters. We just, like, chase an animal until it dies
Dies of
heat
exhaustion.
because we can cool off better than any other mammal.
Because of our lack of hair.
Yeah, our lack of hair, and we have sweat
Sweat.
glands.
We can sweat. Right.
Yeah, other animals don't sweat.
Yeah.
And so
I was just thinking about my little dog.
when
Cannot
you're
sweat.
when you're running more than about 50 miles, women outperform men.
Well, we
like-
have more moisture.
And we
more-
actually have like a type of fat that men don't have.
Oh,
And it's like a quick access fat. And we have it, it's like brown fat. It's essentially for when you're pregnant, you have an additional resource, but also if you need it for endurance, you have it.
Oh, that's great.
as a source of energy.
And
yeah.
like why we have cellulite is we store fat differently than men.
right,
And
women
we store
have
it,
subcutaneous fat.
we store it in
differently
like
than
a
men.
quick access, basically. Whereas
yeah.
men store it in like long-term storage.
Right.
That's why we have cellulite. So that's a secondary sex characteristic.
Yeah,
Cellulite's
that
not
you're
something
shamed for.
that you're shamed for.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't
When
give a
it's
shit anymore.
really-
I can't wait to go to the beach.
It's an extra battery that men don't have.
Yeah. I'm literally I was thinking about this the other day. I'm going to the beach for the first time this in a couple years actually. Well, I might have gone last year. Anyways, with some girlfriends from college, and I think this is the first year where I'm so excited about not giving anything any cares about how I
Can
look.
say fuck. Yeah.
I know, I'm just trying to be
That the
more-
beach gives what you give it.
yeah.
Gets what you give it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that I can go to the beach in whatever bathing suit I want and not care at all. And that I am not going to feel even slightly worried about what my body looks like compared to anyone else's. Because have my entire life felt shame and not like being able to be as free and open at the beach.
Yeah.
Because, I wasn't whatever size.
Yeah.
So I'm really super excited about it. I'm 40.
Well, you got there.
Yeah,
That's
here we
what
are.
matters.
Yeah,
That's what matters. And I think like at the end where she talks about how we don't have to stand still, but our daughters look back to see how far they've come. I feel like that's important. So like I have a daughter. I'm never, ever, ever going to talk about how fat I am in front of my daughter.
right.
I'm not fat, but I'm never going to use that language.
Right.
Because then I'm passing that gift that I was given
Right.
on to her, which is the shame around her body.
Right.
Which is ridiculous and stupid. And that language never gets used with a boy.
Never.
So why would I shame her for something? She doesn't owe anybody anything more than I owe. She's 9.
Right.
I'm never going to talk to her about that. I can remember my mom talking about it and me telling her that she was pretty because I thought she was because she was my mom. And she told me that what she saw in the mirror was not what I saw.
Yep.
And so I thought for a really long time that I could not know what I looked
You
like.
shared that before. Yeah.
I thought that no
Wasn't-
matter how good I thought I looked, I couldn't know because other people could see me differently. And like, why would you even say that to a child who is young enough to not even understand what you're talking about? That you're saying, well, I see myself as ugly. It doesn't matter what you see.
Because their job at that time, that entire generation thought their job was to make you ready for everyone else.
Yeah. So you
And
could drink Tab so your husband would.
The Tab. Oh my God, the Tab soda. Yeah.
Keep your shape so your husband stays.
Mine was my mom thought that her arms, my mom has never weighed over 140, and she's 5 feet tall, but never weighed over 140. Her arms are too fat to wear sleeveless shirts, so she never has. And I wasn't allowed to wear sleeveless fucking shirts. I asked if I could do the beauty pageant because I thought it would be fun. No, short people aren't beautiful, they're cute. My dad,
Boo.
if you quit biting your nails, you might get a boyfriend. If you lost 15 pounds, you might be cute like your sister. Which pitted, I never felt jealous of my sister. We were talking about it the other day. I never felt any kind of jealousy, but my dad definitely
Tried to make you compete.
Well, he thought she was just, so he would just talk about how lovely she is, how lovely. She's, the first thing my dad uses to describe any woman is what they look like.
Physical characteristics.
And I see it in books a lot too. All these fantasy books that we read, they still do that. It's still about like when Pharaoh walks in and is like, "Oh, Amarantha's not that pretty."
Yeah.
Do we have
was
to?
that necessary?
Do we have to?
Yeah.
So like little things like that. And it's just like this unending, your appearance is what gives you actual value
Right.
versus having a Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah. Like when Barbie's in the weird Barbie house and she's like, I'm not pretty anymore. And I'm not even smart. And that's when America Ferrera is like, yeah, you are.
The narrator comes in and goes, "We do recognize that Margot Robbie may not have been the best actress for this exact line." Yeah. Helen Mirren had to pop in for a second.
Yeah. And I liked you have to remind them of their mom, but you can't be their mom.
Right.
And the cognitive dissonance lines that they use to break the Barbies out. Because they get
really like that
infected with
part.
the patriarchy because they have no defense. It's like the natives and smallpox.
No. The best part is when they play the guitar at them.
Yes.
Or they're like, "Do you want me to tell you about The Godfather?"
Yeah.
How many
Godfather. I literally had a boyfriend who was like, "You haven't seen The Godfather?"
I've never watched it, and it's intentional.
I've never watched it.
I've never seen a James Bond movie either. And that sometimes is not unbelievable.
I think I've watched some of the Pierce Brosnan ones, but I'm not like James Bond. Yes, let me watch this famous womanizer do his thing. I'm so excited.
Kate's mouth dropped open.
Sorry.
Do you need a minute?
Yeah.
We can pause it while I eat some bridge mix.
Okay. Thank you so much for that time that
You're
you
welcome.
allowed me.
Thank you for your patience.
Thank you for your patience.
Yeah,
What were we talking about? Sorry.
Oh, Barbie, the movie?
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Can we talk about the horses?
Yes.
I love that he's wearing that little necklace the whole time.
Horses are just men extenders. When I found out the patriarchy wasn't about horses, I lost interest anyway.
That's like the best line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like, what was up with the horses? I was like, I think it's just like a masculine, like the typical like cowboy.
Something he just like picked up on. I thought that too. I was like, did I miss something about why the horses were so, but it's like the cowboy, right?
Right. It could have been anything.
Well,
It's just, that's his thing.
Well, and I think, yeah. And Barbie's always had a lot of horses. There are a lot of horses.
I was going to
in
say it kind of
Barbies.
bridges the gap of
Right.
like Ken can be into horses because it's like manly and they're like men extenders. But then girls like horses because they're pretty and like you have a horse calendar and you want horse riding lessons when you're little. And like every
Yeah.
girl goes through the like horse phase.
Or if you live in Finland, you're a hobbyist, hobby horse.
yes, hobby horsist.
Yes, hobby horsist. Oh my. Oh, the whole pod to itself. Yeah, that was the horses and that coat. Like can we talk about the sets and the detail?
And the wardrobe.
Yes.
Oh my God. I hope can it get an Oscar? Yes.
Yeah, it should.
For sure.
I got Matt the hoodie, the I am Kenough
Yeah.
hoodie.
It's on pre-order.
That's great.
Yeah.
You deserve that.
Matt was
you
like,
are enough.
I want that
and
hoodie.
you feel like enough. That's why I'm like, Matt, we
need a toxic masculine male in here.
Yeah.
Let's go pick one up off the street.
there's
Hey, did you like the
probably
Barbie
a lot
movie?
of
No? Come with me.
guys like me that just want to be a good person, but they've been like trained, conditioned, whatever, their whole life to, mask M-A-S-K as this more masculine version to get along with all the other guys. And so it kind of becomes automatic. And I feel like this movie gives the whole Ken narrative gives permission to guys to be like, I'm having an emotion right now.
Right.
Or I really like horses. Or I really like slinkies. I don't know. Like
Mini
anything.
fridges are too small. They only fit a 6-pack. And the freezers are basically useless.
Right? And so it kind of like, here's this, Ryan Gosling, this guy who's portrayed very masculine characters, like sobbing and just emoting genuinely. It's like, it's okay to do that.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect the like, I don't know, message from the movie to push that hard for men. I expected most of the message of the movie to be for women.
Right.
And then here's Ken, and it's kind of a, like, let's break up the Barbie narrative with, like, the comic relief.
Subplot, yeah.
Right.
But I think it was just as much about how much Ken has to, have this whole, like, awakening, liberation about expectations.
Yeah, and you don't have to be the main character.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't have to be the main character always.
Right. You don't have to be the one that gets pedestaled. You don't have to be the one that's in the middle.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like de-man-centricizing. I don't know if there's probably a better way to say
I
that.
don't think that was an excellent way to say that.
Are those words?
Yes.
But like, yeah, like taking men out of the center of your life so that you can just like orbit around your lives together is. I was feeling. I remember 10 years ago, and we may have chatted about this on another pod, but I remember 10 years ago having so many of these feelings and being so scared of being a mom and not knowing if I wanted that. And not having the language or the words to put into to conceptualize what it was I was thinking about having to run a household
Yeah.
or CEO a house. I mean, I was like, no, I don't ever want to do that. I don't ever want to do that. And there was no, to me, it looked, from what everybody else was doing around me, it didn't look like there were options. There are no other options. So if that's not the kind of woman you want to be,
What do you do?
what do you do? And I remember
Yeah.
that a decade ago. And so I'm so incredibly grateful that we do have these conversations. And this is such a social, like this with Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour, straight up changing the economy.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, we're seeing this happen, like, live. And it's just, that's where that overwhelming emotion comes from at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Not to mention what it's been like to be,
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it's overwhelming. And, yeah, it was perfect.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed it.
And you don't say that very much.
No, I don't. I was thinking about it for me as someone who is not a particularly feminine presenting woman, that it was meaningful for me, like Weird Barbie.
Yeah.
And they're all like, we're sorry we called you weird. And she's like, it's cool. I'm owning it. Like, it's fine. But to have a main character who is overly, like, she's extremely feminine. Barbie is Barbie. Stereotypical Barbie is stereotypical Barbie. But she still gets to be smart. And she still gets to be accepting of all the other Barbies, even the not particularly feminine Barbies, was really nice. Because a lot of times in most shows, the non-feminine presenting woman is either like the bad guy, the tomboy that nobody likes, the weird character that sits at the back and like is
She's the
weird,
foil.
or is the foil, or is whatever. And so I've had a hard time in my life relating to women who are overly feminine because they don't want to relate to me. I don't have a neat little box.
Yeah. I can see where I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
So it was nice to be like, okay, this character gets to be smart and accepting and feminine. And then this other character also gets to be smart and important and like a leader and have influence over other Barbies without having to make herself feminine to do it. Mm-hmm. I mean, she gets less weird. She gets like the marker, marker disappears off her face, but that's fine. It's still, I'm still cool with it because she actually goes from wearing a dress to wearing like a pantsuit. Mm-hmm. Are you done?
Almost.
Was your Kindle in your back pocket?
Side pocket.
Oh.
Cargo shorts.
The cargo
shorts.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very, yeah.
Yeah, and one of the criticisms I saw, which I thought was interesting, and it was something that I thought about, not necessarily the first time, but the second time I went to see it, is that at the end, nothing changes at Mattel. The CEO is still Will Ferrell. And America Ferrera's character gets to, like, say her idea, but it doesn't actually change anything for her, like, status. She's still the secretary at the end of it. And I thought, you know what, I actually like that, because part of the message was, it's okay to just do something small. Like, it's okay to just reject the idea that you have to be thin.
It's okay to have a movie that doesn't solve the problem.
It's okay to not solve the problem, because sometimes in life you don't solve the problem.
Right.
You just do a little bit. You push a little bit farther.
Right.
So that the next person can push a little bit farther.
Yep.
And not everybody gets elected president. Not everybody goes on and changes the world. Some people just do very small things, and that's fine too.
Right. And attaching your like identification of being successful to solving the problem, or winning the competition or whatever.
Yeah.
That's for people with a Mars and a fire sign, and that's not me.
Just some people
it's okay to, or it's healthy to not have that attachment.
Yeah. Just wear a flattering top and try to get through your day. Like,
Right.
That's okay too. Mm-hmm. And I think I like that we didn't solve the problem. And I like that we didn't end up with Ken
Yeah.
through all of that.
Yes.
Yes,
I thought
and there
that
were no
was a
kisses.
great
And that Ken
part of
ended
the
up with
movie.
no one.
There are no kisses in the movie. I
There
really
was-
love that.
Yeah. And there was no consolation Barbie. He didn't end up with anybody.
Yeah.
He just,
There was no cheap like relationship closer.
yeah.
Yep. Because that isn't real life either.
Yeah.
Except for y'all. For the faded mates over here. Just kidding. It's great. You guys are great. No, I was just messing.
It's because he's Ken.
Yeah.
Like
Zero and one Ken.
Alan, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
I loved the Alan character.
Oh, God, he's so great.
So much.
So funny.
And I saw...
I went to go buy an Alan Barbie, and they're not available yet.
oh, no.
And I want Alan Barbie to look like Michael Cera. But when I left that movie, I was like, I want an Alan Barbie.
Yeah.
I want an Alan Barbie to sit right here.
Yeah. I'm Alan. I'm Ken's friend. All his clothes fit me.
I did not look at the cast list before I went to see
Matt
the movie.
didn't know Michael Cera.
And so I didn't know Michael Cera was in it. I didn't know Will Ferrell was in it.
They did.
And so people just kept popping up, and I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so
Yeah.
happy.
Can we talk about how amazing it was that they marketed this thing for a year and nobody had any idea what it was going to be about?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It was all about product placement.
Yeah.
It was not
It was
about
not plot.
No.
Everyone was cold going into this.
cold. So you know this thing, you love this thing, and it fooled people who
Yeah.
might not go see it if they know what it's about.
Right.
So
You
then
probably
there's
got a lot of people that were like, I'm only going to see this movie because my daughter wants to see it.
Margot Robbie's hot.
Yeah.
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 And I want to be like Ryan Gosling.
Yeah. Ryan Gosling's
Look
ripped,
how
and
ripped he is.
I like that jacket.
Did you see their rollerblading outfits?
The dance sequence at the end was perfect.
Yeah.
Where they like flex off into, and then they're
Yeah,
just having so much
you
fun
have
they
this,
stop
like,
fighting.
They hate each other, or they're angry at each other. They're actively fighting each other, but then they get into it, and they're having so much fun doing this thing with all the other guys that they forget that they were angry at each other, and then they just end up holding hands and singing, and they all get along again.
Yeah, and one of the things I saw Greta Gerwig say about it is that everybody in the background, they're not actors, they're dancers. So
Yeah.
everybody's super intentional all the time. And one of my favorite little cameos, little tiny things, and I'm surprised they didn't do anything, but they had planned on it. Have y'all watched Sex Education?
No.
It's a really great show on Netflix. But there is a actress who looks just like Margot Robbie in that show. Like, there's actually a meme, I'll send it to you after this, where it's 4 different actresses and they all look just like, they're the same. Like, it's
Yeah.
hard to tell the difference. And they specifically chose this actress from Sex Education to be in the show, in Barbie, so they could make a reference to them looking the same.
A visual pun.
And I saw her in there and was like, oh my God, that looks just like, I was like, I knew exactly who she was. And then one of her pals from Sex Education is also one of the Ken Barbies.
Oh, okay.
And like, I was just like, I love that they're in this so much. But they didn't make the joke because they realized when they put her in a black wig that they didn't look enough alike. But I decided, I was like, yes, you do. You do too look alike. You look exactly the same.
And I think one of the Barbies was trans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one that,
The long red haired, the doctor.
yeah, the one that looked at the flat foot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, let's include all women.
You can't, but Barbies are, I mean,
Well, just even the
they don't have parts.
I know, but
yeah,
the act
actor,
of
sure.
the act of having all spectrum of female actors
Right.
in it was like, that's what we needed. That's the whole point.
Yep.
Right. And even recognizing that without genitalia, there's still like the way you physically represent the way you were made or, grew, born, whatever, and wanting to change that, even if you don't have like parts.
Yeah.
But you just get to choose. I mean, it's your choice.
Right.
But that's
Gender
the whole
is all
point.
present.
You just get
How
to
you present
choose
yourself.
if
You just
Yeah.
get to choose who you are, and you just tell people. And that's the whole point. Is like,
Right.
here's who I am. Okay, great. I am so happy for you.
Yeah.
Like when they, the part where they meet the construction workers, and she's like, I would like you to know I do not have a vagina, and he does not have a penis. And they're like, okay, cool. I was expecting there to be more like, like ribbing from the
Right.
construction workers, but they're not. They're like, oh, okay, that's cool.
They were shocked.
Yeah.
They were. That's what I got from it. They were like, I don't know what to do with this.
It was just and then when they're on the rollerblades, and she's like, I'm conscious, but I'm conscious of myself. And I don't know, like, I don't have the language for that. And she says, there's definitely like an air of violence to it.
Yes.
And Ken's like, oh, no, I feel admired, but not ogled. And I feel like there's no violence to this at
Right.
all.
Yeah, this feels
and I was like,
perfectly fine and safe.
fucking real life.
Yeah.
When
Say
you-
all the words about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. When you feel like people are looking at you, and it's a very like predatory
Right.
feeling, like I'm being assessed or I'm being like looked at in
Yeah.
a way that feels violent. And I was like, okay, good, we included that, because here's Margot Robbie, beautiful Margot Robbie, in this cute little neon like thong set that she's wearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would probably be what would real life happen to her.
I mean, that literally really in real life happened because there's all this footage of people seeing them out on Venice Beach because that was the first time they filmed anything in the world. And so that's what people were thinking. They said they felt weird being out there
Yeah.
because they were wearing these outfits.
And they were
like,
getting so
couldn't-
much attention.
Yeah, because they were like, oh gosh, we're really doing it. We're
Yeah.
really out here like this, you know? But then you wear something like that, you get attention, you're doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
You just want attention.
Maybe I just want to be pretty.
Yeah, today. Yeah. Well, there's this thing on TikTok too where people will be like, oh, you're just doing it for attention. Yes, it is social media.
Yeah, I'm on TikTok. Where are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the? Okay. 2006, I'm in college, just graduating, or 2005, Facebook comes out. All of a sudden, it starts to be normal for people to take pictures of themselves. And I remember being so weirded out by that because it wasn't common
No.
to take a
Right.
picture of yourself. And now, and like it has steadily become very, very, very normal to see people taking pictures of themselves. And you don't think anything about it now, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember that
Yes.
shift?
I still
The
don't
selfie
like
shift?
to take
Yeah,
selfies.
it's
The
still
selfie
weird.
shift. You don't
Yeah.
take them.
I don't take selfies.
I still, when I look around, I'm like, somebody's seeing me take my picture.
I have taken an occasional selfie, but it's literally just to send to Rachel to be like, hey, look where I am. Like,
Right. So even now, we still have a little bit of self-awareness and self-consciousness
Yeah.
when we take a selfie in public. I mean, I do it. I'll be making a TikTok in my car, and I'm like looking around to see if anybody sees me making a TikTok in my car. But who cares? I mean, the generations growing up under below us,
Yeah.
underneath us,
They don't care.
younger generation, they grew up like that.
Yeah.
Grew up being filmed
Yeah.
or videoed. What is it? Word
I think, I don't know, recorded
yeah, recorded.
recorded on camera?
on camera.
Yeah.
Online. Like they grew
Online.
up online.
They grew up online.
Yeah.
You know, if you go to school looking at yourself, that's like literally intrinsic then.
Yeah. I hate having like a camera where I can see myself.
Yeah, I'm in Zoom a lot. It is it's an adjustment.
Yeah.
Definitely. I used to call it Zoom anxiety because you're looking at people's faces look at you.
Yeah.
So you can see everyone's response to you at one time. Ooh, it's tough.
Yeah. I can see that. Yeah. Trying to think of some of the other, like,
I mean, there's 100 million different things that you could say.
about this whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved Carla. That was her name in Cheers. The actress that played, who's Danny DeVito's wife, that played.
Oh, yes.
yes.
Yeah. What's her
Yeah.
real name?
She played in Matilda. That's what I knew her from.
I know her from Cheers. She's Carla from Cheers.
I don't know what her real name
She does.
is.
She's like the first waitress I've ever seen that she could do a cartwheel with a tray. It was amazing. She was such a smart little whippersnapper. I was like, that's who I want to be when I grow up. That bitch. But yeah, it was really sweet to see her. And
She
then,
plays Ruth Handler.
yeah.
The inventor of Barbie.
And then Barbie being, how about the ending? Let's talk
Yeah.
about the ending. I already want a pair of those light pink Birkenstocks.
Mm-hmm.
They're so cute. I will, I loved them.
Yes.
You got me there, Birkenstock. You got me.
Successful
Since
marketing.
that's the blue pill.
Yeah.
Birkenstock is the blue pill.
No, you chose wrong. Choose a guy.
Yeah. So,
No, I
yeah.
wanna
And
forget.
she walks in and she's got a vagina.
Yeah.
You know, and you think
I
about,
want to go see my gynecologist.
Yes.
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, Barbie, congratulations. You got yourself a vagina and a vulva and all the things and all the parts.
Yeah.
You're probably better at naming them than me, but.
It's fine. Now you get to be like woman
And she
instead of
actually-
representation of a woman.
Right. And if
Yeah.
she's got all her parts now, then she might actually never mind.
A real Ken? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we'll just send her a copy of ACOTAR and see how
Yeah.
it makes her feel.
It's fine.
Silver Flames, start there, Barbie. See how it makes you feel. Hey, Barbie, did you read Ice Planet Barbarian? Go check that out and see how it makes you feel.
Like any Ken in real life would be inadequate. I don't think you should start there. It's 8 inches long and 4 inches around, and
Yeah.
you have a specialized nub just for this.
Yeah,
Okay,
okay.
that's
Yeah.
inaccurate.
Yeah, but just the part that, people forget. People don't pay attention to our bodies, I mean, men don't learn anything about our bodies
Right.
and how they work. Did you see, it was within the last year, and it probably happens cyclically, but where a guy will ask a question or will ask a question about how you pee with a tampon in.
Nice.
Yeah.
Really.
I've seen
real life.
those kinds of questions
Yeah.
on the internet.
You just take it out to pee, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's
It's like when you're in elementary school and all the boys are like, "Ugh, how do you pee out of your butt?"
yeah.
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 Oh, you're a man with a girlfriend and you don't know that there's another hole.
Yeah, that there's two.
There's two holes?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got two of those things.
Yeah.
You guys are multi-purpose. We're not. We're
Not.
specialized.
Yeah.
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 One hole per. Yeah.
Per function.
Per function.
Yeah.
Yes. Matt's like, okay. Nah, you'll talk about this.
Oh no, I was out buying tampons and
I
pads.
know.
For
You were all buying
whenever.
tampons and pads before we were dating.
Yeah. What do you
Yeah.
think? Why do you think that you have always been a little bit more? Because you have sisters,
There's one sister.
I have a single mom.
single mom.
Yeah, I didn't have the patriarchy at home.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the patriarchy abandoned you.
Like it does.
Yeah.
The patriarchy did
And I
you
didn't
dirty.
grow up in a traditional home either. I mean, had a relationship with my dad, but it wasn't. Honestly, my dad was a better nurturer and my mom was a better provider. So it would have been better.
For them to have swapped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I had sex ed classes in a progressive city in New England, not in
Right.
the rural South.
Sure.
So I actually learned how stuff works.
Right.
What would that be like? Actually, I went to high school here and I hit this sweet spot where they didn't have any regulation about what you could teach. And so I
Yeah.
had a really progressive sex ed teacher. And she had like a box of contraceptives and she would pass it around and you had to pull it out and try to explain how it worked. And if you couldn't figure it out, she'd tell you. And it was like female condoms, diaphragms, condoms, spermicide, pretty much anything she could find and throw in there.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah, we had the whole like banana on a condom in 7th grade.
We definitely did not. But I feel like I knew a lot of that stuff anyways. I don't know. I feel like I learned all that stuff like outside of school, younger. I don't know. Don't have a memory of it. What am I forgetting? What traumatized
What
me?
have you repressed?
What have I repressed? Yeah.
Yeah, sex ed. I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the South.
Yep.
Abstinence is the only 100% effective birth
That is
control.
such.
And that's how you get men that don't know you can pee when you have a tampon in because it's not the same hole.
Yep.
Yeah. And also just a lack of women holding men to task.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know it's not all our fault. It absolutely is not. Like, the system is rigged and we have to acknowledge it's rigged, but we still have to be grateful.
Yeah.
Like America Ferrera says.
Yep.
But we put up with too much shit. We absolutely put up with too much shit. Part of the reason we have, not because Matt would try to get away with things, but I don't put up with shit.
Yep.
Like when we stayed with my mom, he wasn't allowed in the kitchen. If he came in the kitchen to help me, Mom would shoo him out.
Yeah,
She was like, this
isn't
isn't his job. He needs to go sit down. Why is he cleaning? Why is he doing the dishes? You do that when you're done. He needs to go. And so
Yeah.
then it was, okay, no, he has to come back and help me because I'm not going to be the one who does this whole thing. That's not my job.
Right.
I am not the house appliance who lives in the kitchen and who cooks and provides and washes the dishes and does nothing else.
Yeah. That sounds. I hate that.
Yeah, you didn't hire a dishwasher when you
Yeah.
got married. That's fucking ridiculous.
Right.
And I know lots of women who are married who have kids who put up with far too much shit. And I know it's because we are taught that we need a man. You have to have a man. You have to have that partnership. It's absolutely okay that you can't support yourself because you have a provider. That's what you do. You went to college to get a husband, right? And you got it and he's got a great job, so you just got to keep him.
Yeah. And then there's the generation that was like, oh, but you can do all that and still work.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening.
That's what's happening
That
right
happens
now.
a lot. That was like a
Yeah.
90s shift. Oh, equal opportunity. So women can go back into the workplace, but then none of the household dynamic changed.
Yeah, like he has a friend at work and she was messaging him with a question about she asks him for relationship advice, which he usually just passes on to me and then I just
I'm not surprised.
I facilitate.
I am not surprised by that at all. I think that you guys, this is why I know y'all's relationship is so healthy because you literally tell each other everything.
Yes.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd
Like
be-
there have been so many times where you'll tell me a story And I'm like, yeah, no, Rachel told me that. But I'm not going to interrupt you because I want to hear you tell it, or
Yeah.
vice versa.
Right.
Like, it
'Cause
happens a lot.
There might be
Or you'll
certain parts of it that are more significant to me that I might highlight differently.
And
when
or
I tell
you'll
the
say
story.
something like, oh, yeah, Rachel told me about that. And I'll be like, damn, y'all really do communicate. And that's really great. It's like, I know I've told this, but not on this feed. When you came in, remember that? You came in here to ask her a question about dinner, and me and Hannah looked at each other, and we were so scared because we're so accustomed to there being this intense tension between couples. And we were both like, and you guys are just like effectively communicating. And
Or like I came in after one of the Feast, Sheath, Shatter episodes, and you guys were just chatting, and Rachel was like, "Oh yeah, I was thinking about going out with them."
That was what
That was
talking
what I'm
about.
talking
I
about.
was like,
that one?
I was like,
Yeah.
I'm going to dinner. Do you want me to bring you anything back?
and we were like,
and you're like, no, I'm good.
because you didn't ask permission.
Yeah, because
And-
I don't need to because I'm not a child.
Yeah, and that is what we were like.
So the friend that asked advice, she has dual citizenship. And so she's getting ready to get married and she doesn't want to change her last name because it's a big deal. She has to get new passports. She has to pay money. She has to get new ID cards for everything. It's a big deal to change her name.
It is. It's an annoying.
And it was a deal breaker for her husband. He was like, no, you have to take my last name. And she was like, I don't
And I was
want
like,
to. And he
that
was
should
like,
be a deal breaker for you.
He was like, no, that's your place. You take my last name. And I said, if it's a concern of his that you have the same last name, he can take yours. And then you'll have the same last name and you don't have to go through all of that.
Yeah.
But it's okay to walk away because of that.
Or that's a pretty big indicator of this is how it's always been and nothing's going to look different.
Right.
This is how it is.
And it's okay to see a red flag and go, done, and walk off the field.
Is that what happened?
No, not yet.
Does she listen to this podcast?
She
find out.
sometimes listens to the podcast.
Well, it's fine.
Hey, lady.
To me, if we are not approaching this from a place of respect at the very beginning, I don't owe you fixing you. I will work with you if you are working with me. But if it's, I see what you're doing, you're wiggling over there because you're like, we can, but there's a certain amount of I will work. And then there's a certain amount of you are putting too much on me. You are expecting me to fix you. We just talked about this in we just did a Forever Night episode where it's very much like a manic pixie dream girl. And so Matt was like, well, isn't there one where like the guy is quirky too? And basically the thing he described is the same, where the man doesn't give anything back, which is of course like why the manic pixie dream girl is like a man's ideal woman, because she's quirky and she adopts him and she fixes him and he never has to put any work into the relationship. That's the whole, that's why we love the manic pixie dream girl. And I think that creates a place where it's like, I, as a woman and your caregiver, I'm your nurturer. I'm the one who will fix you. You poor broken little baby bird.
and all the guy gives her is the D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you expect nothing back.
Yeah. And I was wiggling. I was wiggling because you were reminding me of a certain character in a book that you tend to hate. So I was just gonna like say that, but it's again
Maybe not
another
hate,
pod, another
but
pod.
have strong
Decide.
default reactions to.
Yeah. I
Right.
mean, I'm not going to physically assault the guy because he's not not
I'm not
listening
gonna
to me.
bite him.
I'm not going to.
So I just read another book where a character did a thing where he took her choice, and that is what this gentleman is trying to do to his partner. He is stripping her of a choice and setting an ultimatum. She is saying, I don't really want to do this because of all these things. That's really inconvenient and I don't really care and it doesn't really matter to me. And he's saying, you don't have any choice. It's a deal breaker.
And the sense I got from it was he has such a fixed worldview about the sequence of events in this situation.
Right.
And then
He's not
had
gonna,
no openness to question or change that.
right. And it really does boil down to choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
Yeah.
so what happens when she has a baby on one hip and another baby on the other and she needs help with the dishes?
Right.
Right.
And like, that was the one that we talked about last week was
Yeah.
I do 100% of the cleaning and I work full time and he will not help.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, I do 80% of the cleaning, but I
Right.
don't work full time.
Right.
Matt works full
And
time.
that works in your dynamic. But if you worked,
If I worked, we would divide it differently.
right,
The only
I
reason
you'd have to take more
I work
Adderall.
full time. I put the kids to bed every night.
Yeah.
I make coffee in the morning and give Rachel her cup of coffee every morning.
Yeah, that's
And
fucking
we have
get the
like
fuck out of here with that.
we
That's
have-
like one of those things where I'm like, I cannot with the intimacy.
we
of the
have these
relationship.
sets of responsibilities that we've divvied up among ourselves
that work
over
for
the
y'all.
year
Yeah.
that work for us.
And as you grow, if things need to shift, they'll shift.
right.
right.
Right. And that is what's so scary about that situation. It's not about the name. It's about your ultimatum of me not having a option.
Right. And it's like, I mean, that's what Barbie was talking about, is we have to come to this as equals. Mm-hmm. We have to, I'm not better than a man. A man's not better than me.
Yeah.
And there's absolutely no reason why I should have given any of my power to anybody.
Right. And yeah, and he's unable to like break down why, like zoom out. That's why I'm always zoom out, dude.
Yeah.
Why do men have to give the name? That's fucking patriarchy.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I have a great last name, Shields. That's a really cool last name, but it's not going anywhere.
Right.
Like, you know, if somebody marries me, they need to take my name. My name's better
I
than your
changed my
name.
last name because we were going to have kids.
Yeah, and you want your
And it
kid's
just
name.
made things more simple.
And my mom got divorced and didn't change her last name because she wanted her name to match ours. So she is still the last name of her marriage
Yeah.
because she wanted to match her kids. She can do that. She
Yeah,
didn't.
my mom changed her name back.
She did change it back. Yeah. And my mom decided not to. And that's totally okay.
Yeah, because it's your choice.
It's your choice.
You get to choose what you want to do.
Yeah.
And there's no right or wrong as long as it's your choice.
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't always, and that's another thing is, and I think, oh, it is Gwen. Sorry. I was like, is that the Earthsea cycle?
It
Yeah,
is.
it is.
Yeah.
Such a pretty version. What were we talking about? Choice.
Barbie.
Barbie. I forgot. It's fine.
I don't remember what.
Changing name after divorce.
Yeah. As long as it's your
changing
choice.
Name. Yeah.
An equal partnership.
Equal partnership.
Yes. That's like at the very beginning, even in Barbie Land, Ken's not a partner. Like, sorry, every night is girls' night.
Yeah, and she apologizes
That's
for
why
that.
at the end she's like, maybe not every night needed to be girls' night.
Yeah, and she took accountability for that.
And the house doesn't go back to completely hers. The house, like, the bedding isn't horses, but it's not pink. And like the
She
They,
wears,
they still have the saloon doors.
the end, she's wearing yellow.
yeah.
Friendship color.
So it's a very much like, okay, maybe we can be partners.
I'm not in love with Ken.
Yeah.
But Barbie ends up with Ken. I'm not in love with Ken.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not.
Right.
Yeah, we all knew that. Barbie,
Yeah.
it's okay.
We can be BFFs.
Yeah, we can be friends.
Yeah.
Another patriarchal thing
That's what the
is
other
not having platonic friends, like not being able to, because if a man and a woman are friends, then one of them has to be ugly or blah, 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 blah. And that's not real. Yes, the fuck it is real. I have a
Yeah.
lot of, maybe I'm just an ugly woman.
No. That's completely
No,
inaccurate.
that's what I'm saying. But people
Yeah.
think that. And it's
Yeah.
like, well, what kind of mindset do you have that you think that you can't be friends with the opposite sex? Like, value them as a whole entity without them being some sort of romantic interest.
Right.
Yeah.
I see that a lot from
Yeah.
the like really toxic dudes
Yes.
that just can't.
Because they don't like women.
Well, it's because it's fragile masculinity. You can't like women. You can't like feminine things. You can't have a friend who is a woman because if you allow that femininity into your life, it's over. It's done. Your masculinity is gone.
Right. Like
Right.
here,
You can't paint your nails. You can't shave your legs. You can't wear the color pink. You can't have long hair. You can't wear a guy liner.
Yeah.
You can't wear colored sunglasses. You can't.
But you recognize that women are more attracted to men who are comfortable in their masculinity
Yes.
enough to do those things.
Right. Yes.
Like, a lot. So, y'all got it wrong.
well, like one example of the fragile masculinity is like a dad not letting their son play,
With dolls?
like when they're kids playing as like playing with feminine things or even like wearing a dress. Because the femininity is so dangerous to masculinity that you cannot even play with the idea of being more feminine because it will destroy your masculinity.
Right. It strips it.
Right.
And that is, fragile. That makes sense. Thank you. I knew what it meant, but like that example really like
Right.
drove
And
it
it's
home.
like,
Yeah.
it's so tempting to once you've had a taste of femininity, it's so tempting to just be more feminine.
Yeah. Welcome to the dark side.
Yeah, because
We
you're,
wear pink.
yeah.
And when
what
I would
you
go
like.
into the office, I think I got rid of a lot of them, but I had a ton of button-up shirts like across the rainbow.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a purple shirt right now.
Yeah, purple.
I love wearing like bright, like
Colorful stuff.
purples and
You also paint your
even
nails.
pinks. Yep.
Yep. I saw a TikTok of a barber talking about how he started painting his nails because he was tired of people assuming something about him. And that was that he was a like tattooed macho Southern conservative dude. And he was tired of the shit that people were saying in his chair that he thought was completely fucking inappropriate.
Yeah.
A lot of times that's just racism.
Right.
Or some bullshit misogyny or something like that. So he painted his nails and it stopped. Because they realized, oh, he might not be the safest person. He might not be okay.
I don't get to be a bigot around him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's such a small social cue,
Yeah.
you know? That happens with me and this fucking little septum piercing. You know? The things that people will think that you're okay with when you're just a blonde woman selling them a house versus you have a nose piercing. This nose piercing too, not the
other one, not the socially acceptable
It's a different. I'm not gonna lie. Part of it for me is that you can look at me and know I didn't vote for a certain person in 2016. I want you to know that about me. I want you to know that. So I think those little social cues are so real when it comes to that kind of like, are they a safe? Can I say nasty shit in front of them? You know?
Yeah.
And not wanting to be confrontational. But people get the idea that you're not, you know?
Yeah, we're not going to play the hate party together. No. Like, it's
You're
not going to.
I'm not a safe space for that.
I'm not a safe space for that. I'm a safe space for lots of things.
Yeah.
But I'm not for hate.
Yeah,
No.
for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. The purple, like, just purple shirts, the nail painting, I think because that's becoming a very masculine thing. Earrings, there's a lot of things, especially the Gen Z and the people who are kind of setting the trends right now that are a lot more feminine for men.
They're willing to play with it.
Yeah, and fluidity is a lot more acceptable, and I think that is the right direction.
Yeah. If we can all just get over the binary bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm the hunter, you're the gatherer. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah.
And it might change what our homes look like, and it might change what our insurance policies look like.
Well, I think we can all agree the way the system works right now is not healthy.
Right.
That's why so many people are on medication or go to therapy or have crippling like anxiety and depression and emotional dysregulation because we don't have a healthy system. Mm-hmm. So actually there's a disproportionate number of people who are disabled are also LGBTQIA+. So you are more likely to be LGBTQ if you are
Queer,
disabled
yeah.
because actually it's unhealthy to live in the amount of anxiety they have to live in and the constant threat that they live under. And so they think that the reason is because it literally destroys your health to be hated constantly by not everyone, but it feels like everyone.
Right.
And so we are literally harming people. You just hating someone because of who they are is literally harming people.
Yeah. Yes.
It's the same as poisoning them.
That's why we need to build a wall around Florida. You can take that out and zip that out of there.
Can I? Or should I leave?
I don't know. It's up to you.
Who
It's your
cares?
podcast.
Nobody wants
It's your podcast.
Florida.
I show up.
Nobody wants Florida.
That's where Disney World is. That's where like Universal
Wasn't
is.
Disney World talking about moving?
Yeah, to NC, North Carolina. I'm going to start that petition.
We're here.
Yeah,
We're here.
We're here. Yeah,
Do it.
Carowinds is having issues, so just make something else out that way.
Yeah, it's fine. Take it over. Fix it up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
So
Barb-
in that vein, what I was just thinking is, as someone whose like love language that I like to receive as physical touch, I was thinking I need to like give my guy friends more hugs.
Yes.
Yeah, so I went over to I gave Alan a hug last night.
Oh my God,
When
did
we
he
went over
love
there.
that?
Oh yeah,
Did he coddle? Did he kind of snuggle you a little bit?
I didn't notice that. but-
I could see him
Leaning in.
real deep. You know, you smell like verbatim insult. Wait, what is it?
Verbena.
Verbena.
Verbatim.
Verbatim. That's how I say it in my head. Verbatim. Verbena, lilac, and salt.
Yeah.
You woodsy cedar man.
Put your manly hand in
And
mine.
being and
Yeah, I really liked that line from the song. Like at the end of the beach battle,
when they like
right?
kiss his cheek.
yes,
That's so
and he's all
sweet.
like, yeah,
yeah, it's a great movie.
It's a really good. I know we keep saying it, but it's accurate, so it's fine.
Yeah.
There was that trend for a little while where it was like, put your boyfriend or your husband's like head in your lap when you sit down,
and just
or
stroke
like
his hair.
yeah, and see what happens. And it was
Yeah.
just like,
Well,
oh.
men like being the little spoon too.
Right? And a whole bunch
Yeah.
of women would post about this and be like, guys, my boyfriend literally like cried when I did that.
Well, I was going to say earlier, it came to my brain when you were talking about there's this thing where, as women know, there's the boyfriend at home and then there's the boyfriend in public,
Yeah.
right? And it's that like, are they vulnerable with you? And what that vulnerability typically looks like is them being able to be soft and like a little boy. And it's not like a little boy. It's just
Yeah.
a man who is emotionally available and
Yeah.
vulnerable, and that we need to stop making that like they aren't little boys.
yeah,
They're grown men that are allowed to have feelings and be soft and be the little spoon and be taken care of in these other ways. And I thought about that earlier when you
Yeah.
said that. I was like, oh yeah, well, you experience that, and that's what intimacy feels like.
Right.
When you as a woman get to see a man's softness, right?
right, yeah,
And then when we get alpha, they're like, oh, I don't like that. Well, go fuck yourself. It's
yeah.
fine.
Mom always said that one of the things that men are always, that are capable of that women aren't, which she always thought this was why men should be primary caregivers for kids, is because men can always play. Women have a hard time playing. A lot of women have a hard
Because they are
time.
wearing so many hats.
Right.
Yeah,
Because
just
they're
like
being
full
weighed
out.
They're being weighed down
Right.
by the weight of being a CEO and maid and all the things they used to hire out.
Yeah.
They have to do themselves.
Yeah. But men can just turn that off and go play with the kids.
Yeah, because their lives are so easy. It's fine.
Yes. But I also think there's a certain amount of like, I don't know. I know Matt is better at playing with the kids than I am. And I
Yeah.
don't think there's a world where I'm good at playing with
Were
the
you
kids.
ever allowed to be playful?
I don't ever remember being playful.
Yeah.
Rachel doesn't have many memories of childhood.
Because you weren't allowed to be playful. Because we are taught from so young that we should be behaving
Yeah.
and good little girls. And little girls aren't allowed to be playful. Guess who's allowed to be super fucking playful?
Oh, boys.
Little boys.
Yeah.
So you're not playful because you were told not to be.
Right.
I'm playful, really playful. I'm lucky because my mom wasn't around enough. No. No one was there to tell me to not be playful.
Right.
You know, or I'm ADHD and have a lot more energy. I don't know. I've always been really playful.
Well, I think we all exist on a spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when I was little, when I was a teenager, I remember being pissed off that all the dudes got to be the funny fucking performative dudes. Like, we were all just sitting around watching the bros like do shit. And it's like, what? Why? Why aren't we playful. We're funny. When they're not around, we're hilarious.
Yeah.
Why aren't we funny when they're around?
Because we give up too much.
Yeah.
Because we're taught we have to, and we don't have to.
Yeah. But you're silly sometimes.
Yeah, I'm dry,
And
funny.
you're really funny. Like, you're so funny.
I'm so funny.
You are. You are funny. You're very funny. That's what I'm saying. Like, our silliness gets taken away. We don't have the luxury of silliness.
Well, yeah.
Do you think that's because you're always having to moderate the amount of attention that is directed at you?
No, it's
Yeah.
because you have to center men at all times.
Yeah, that
I
and
can't
that.
be funnier than you. I can't be smarter than you. I can't be better than you at anything.
And,
Even if I am, I'm going to get corrected.
And
Oh,
what?
let me show you how to do that. Go ahead, Kate.
No. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's like the sports part where they're like, just pretend to be bad at sports. And they're like, I'll show you. Let us show you.
Right.
That's what happens. Even if I'm better at it, I'm never going to be better at it because you're going to be like, well, that's not how I would do it. Not you personally, but you
Right.
as the male representative in this room.
But there is there is truth in what you just said as well. In that if a woman showed up, if someone showed up being confident, right? Confidence, like walked into a room and didn't think that she had to be quieter. She took up space. She would then also be, oh, she's just attention seeking. She's just
bitch,
performative.
arrogant.
She's so arrogant. She's just a bitch. Like, oh, did you see how much attention? She's just a pick me girl. Well, I don't actually know if that's relevant, but like, she just wanted all the guys' attention. No, she just wanted to talk.
Yeah, be
people.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I've been called arrogant my whole life.
Right, but
Because-
if you had a penis,
It would be
Right,
fine.
wow,
it would be fine.
so confident.
But it was because I didn't apologize for being smart. And I didn't
Right.
apologize for being smarter than somebody else.
Right.
And if I got good grades, it's because I fucking worked for them. And I'm not going to tell you that I didn't.
Right.
And so I've been arrogant my whole life. Oh, I heard about you. I thought you were going to be meaner because I thought everybody told me you were a bitch and you were arrogant.
Well,
and all you wanted to talk about was your grades.
And arrogance is walking in a room and thinking you're better than everyone. That is not who
It's
you
not
are
the same
at
thing.
all. That is not who you are. And that's what arrogance is.
Yeah.
You walk in a room and you're better than everyone in there.
You're making assumptions about your position
confidence.
relative
You
to other
walk in a
people.
room and you're okay with who you are and you think
Right.
everybody's on the same footing and playing field. That is how I do my job.
yeah.
And then that gets stepped on by,
Well, I never felt like I needed to compare myself to anybody.
and that is the definition of confidence.
Like I'm not competing with you. I'm
Yeah.
competing with me.
Right.
If I'm better than anybody, I'm going to be better than myself. You do you. Everybody else can be themselves and that's fine. I want everybody to be self-confident. But because I'm not competing against you. And so I think that's why my whole life I had a really hard time fitting in with other women.
Well, I can understand that, and that's also because the South.
Yes.
Yeah, because so many folks they're all
Yeah.
they're all caged horses that don't know it.
Right.
I-
Oh,
I
it's
saw
Glennon.
another-
Is it Glennon?
Yeah, Glennon O'Doyle.
Who's like-
Glennon? Yeah,
Glennon Doyle.
Abby's wife. Yeah,
Yeah, the one who's like
Untamed.
yeah,
Yeah.
about the cheetah. Like no,
Yeah.
the cheetah isn't sick. It's a fucking cheetah and
Yeah.
it shouldn't be in a cage.
Funny story about her. She thought she was a Pisces for so long. She's actually not. She's an Aries, and I thought that was so funny. Sorry. Yes, but the cheetah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we forgot we were fucking cheetahs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and
We need to read Women Who Run with the Wolves.
I know you said that.
We're going to do it. I'm going to add it to the list. And
Okay.
we're just going to do a
Put it-
chapter and
you
then we're
can
going to
all-
do like a Bible study, but we're going to do Women Who Run with the Wolves.
Put it in December.
We can't just sit and read it cover to cover. It's not that kind of book.
Oh, okay.
Like we need to read a chapter and then talk about it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then make it, because it's like
It's
it's
a
a
study
very,
guide.
There's
it's a
stuff
very
to unpack.
profound, like women are far more inherently powerful than we give ourselves credit for and that we are given credit for.
Yeah, they talked us into thinking that we were not. We did
Right.
not have any power.
Like they taught us we were puppies and we're wolves.
And what's funny is a lot of times men will say, "Do you know how much power you have? Because you control this thing over here that starts the P."
Yeah.
And we actually don't see it that way at all. But they say all the time, like, you control that. You have all that control. And that's just like not our take on it. No, we don't get out of here with that.
Yeah.
We don't see it that way. We're all scared.
Right.
We're all constantly scared that pea is going to be stolen or taken or hurt or damaged or killed or, But yeah, okay, we can do that.
Yeah. I think we should. Mm-hmm. It's good. It's important because men have their role and women, I mean, not men have their role and women have their role, but we all have we're all sovereign individuals who have our own power and we forgot and we gave too much of it away. And it's important to get it back because how can I teach Penny that she doesn't owe anybody anything? Well, I still believe that I do.
Right.
If I'm not self-confident, how am I supposed to teach her to be self-confident? Mm-hmm. I liked the line, we have to stand still so our daughters will see how far they come. But when I'm dead, I'll stand still.
I was thinking the same thing.
But until then, I'm going to keep going forward because wherever I stop is where you get to start.
Yeah.
And if I stop back here, that's unfair.
Yep. And you're like
Rachel will
super
stop
doer.
when she's fucking dead.
Yeah, you're a super doer. Yeah.
So, I don't know. It was good. And I did like it. And I think it's important that we all start having this conversation. Everybody. I definitely think
it's not yeah, sorry.
I think we're already having it. Women were already having it. But no one had made a movie where we said all those things. Mm-hmm. And then it
made $1 billion.
And then it becomes $1 billion movie.
It made $1 billion.
Because we're here, we're out there. Men like Matt are out there. Women like us are out there. But we're not allowed to. We don't have a voice in the way that the vocal minority has a voice.
Yeah. Well, I see this social pattern happening, and I've been thinking about it, and I want to say it, and I want everybody out there who makes. Well, when you guys come to a agreement on the writer strike and they start paying everyone fairly. I want to point out again, the Barbie movie made $1 billion. Taylor Swift's Eras Tour is literally changing economies. These are women spending money on these giant things, on this IP. It is time to start spending more money on women things, which is why we need a really good version of A Court of Thorns and Roses as well as Throne of Glass I don't want fucking HBO. Fuck you, HBO. I want Apple Plus. I want a foundation level budget, and I want you to realize that women, if it's done right, will pay for it, and that you don't have to placate the boys anymore. No. That we're all here and we can show up and pay for stuff too.
And there's plenty of men that are like Matt who will show up too.
Yeah.
He'll watch it with me, and he'll probably enjoy it.
Yeah, you'll love it so much.
We watch K-dramas together.
I know.
It doesn't get any more sappy.
Do you think he's a Rhysand, an Azriel, or a Cassian person? Who do you think he'd want more? Like more as a pal?
Cassian.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
Let's go.
There are these really big things that have all this potential.
Isn't that who Alan is?
Cassian? No.
Oh, go out and have fun.
Yeah, that's basically like your bro. Matt loves bro friends.
Yeah. Are you talking about
historically?
Alan Harley?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Historically, I don't get along well with other guys.
You and Al are pal.
I've had more close friends that are female than male, and every once in a while, there's a guy that's like, oh yeah, we get along.
Well, he's had the same trouble.
Yeah.
He is the exact same, and it's so funny. When he'll give a breakdown of y'all's friendship, and in my mind, I'm like, he's telling me, he's talking to me, he's telling me.
He's info dumping.
Yeah, he's info dumping. And I'm realizing, oh my goodness, this is the first time he's had a close friendship. And I'm like, yeah, bro, I learned this shit back in 16, 17, 18, it's fine. I have a little girlfriend.
But men can't be vulnerable with each other.
Exactly.
In that way.
And I
was,
until what I was saying, so I didn't say anything. I wasn't going to shun him. But I was like, holy cow, this is amazing. He's experiencing this closeness with this other male friend for the first time, and he's thinking about it and talking about it and really enjoying it. And I was like, that's amazing. I love that for him.
Yeah.
And there should be more dudes out there. I mean, I just think where y'all are too in the world, where we live in the world.
Right. Because so we watch K-dramas. There's a thing in Korea where you have what's called your hyung, and it's your best friend who is Matt and Alan are youngs. And it's like, you're my male friend who's basically a brother. We can
Right.
cry together. We can hug. We can hang out at each
You
other's
know the
houses.
intimacies of each other's relationships to an extent.
Yeah.
Like the emotional stuff, not
Right.
necessarily
Yeah. You like you would have a really close girlfriend.
Yeah.
But like we talk
Right,
about our
confidants.
relationships
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
We cry together. We bitch about what's going on together. All of that. But the male version.
Right.
And you can't have that in the American culture. You can't cry in front of another man. You can't have a friend that you tell your relationships problems with unless it's like, yeah, I fucked that chick. She was so hot.
But what's funny is that men do have those kinds of relationships all the time. They just can't, it just has to be wrapped up in sports or something.
Yeah.
You know, like I know these 3 dudes. One of them was a really good friend of mine, and they're the sweetest pal group ever. And they know each other, and like one of them will say something about another woman, and the other 2 know exactly what he means and he's talking about. But they wrap it up in sports and drinking.
Yeah.
So you don't, and that's another issue in this country. You cannot be intimate without beer and booze and drinks.
Right.
Yeah.
You always need to couch things inside of contexts that give you plausible deniability of, oh, I wasn't admitting any kind of weakness.
Right. So if you just said to Alan or the friend that we're speaking of, hey, bud, I just need to come over and talk. You know, you're not going to do that. You're going to be like, hey, man, I'm going to come over and bring a 6-pack. You know, and you guys are going to have a couple beers together. I mean, I'm sure you could do that.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't,
Well,
you wouldn't frame it that way.
Like last night, Alan was like, I just want you to come over for like an hour so we can talk.
I saw that text. He said, I don't really, it's fine if no one else comes, so can Matt come over?
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in a little bit. And I was like, that's so cute.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
It was sweet.
It was really sweet. Did you go over there?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
All right. Well, we can wrap it up here.
Okay.
'Cause I feel like this was a good, productive conversation. We need to bring a toxic man bro, dude bro, in. Chain them to the
What
chair.
if he taints the room?
I would say
We can take the recording equipment out.
do like a Zoom
Call.
conversation.
Yeah, because otherwise we'll have to frisk him.
Yeah, or just...
Sorry, no
what
weapons
if
in the pod
What
lab.
if he taints it?
I'm sorry, but the vibes are bad now. You have to go. Like, you just,
We need to
Or
get some
a
savings.
gentleman
Going.
that is toxic and knows it and wants to change.
yeah. I mean, I think they're there, and I think now that we're having the conversation, we can talk about it,
Right.
and dudes can talk about it. Like, people change. Everybody's not set in stone.
Right.
Or Matt was watching one that was like, I think everybody watching the Barbie movie saw Ken and saw that one little boy that was so sweet. And then when he grew up, you lost him and you
Yeah.
never saw him again because
Yeah, I saw a
it
TikTok.
had to be a dude.
I saw a TikTok of a finance bro going, when you see Barbie and you realize that girls don't like it when you tell them about stocks, when you teach them about stocks. And it was just like so forlorn.
Oh, the CD one where it's like, oh no, we're talking about certificates of deposit. Let me tell you all about it.
Yeah, and when the part where she's just like playing the guitar at them.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I've dated so many dudes like that just play the guitar at you.
Yeah. Can I play the guitar at you for 4.5 minutes while maintaining awkward eye contact? I would love that.
And he
And I love her.
committed so hard
Well,
to that performance.
And somebody
good
tried
at
to
it.
they tried to start shit with Matchbox 20. Someone was like, "Oh my god, did you know she's using your song like that?" And they were like, "Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like it's cool."
Yeah, people not realizing that those were real songs.
Yeah.
Like they were young people who didn't realize they were real songs. Like, what's the song they're singing in the car? I know it, but who sings that? Is it like Better Than Ezra? Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I looked it up right after, but I've forgotten it.
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
I mean, I remember that song. I know the words to that song, but it's funny. Anyways, lovely conversation. Thanks for letting me join your side of the feed.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. I appreciate you guys.
Until next time, friends.
Bye.
Bye. Don't y'all have like a send off? Okay.